Hi everyone! Oh, I can see people start to join actually. Hi everyone! Thank you so much for coming in. How are you today? I think we have some familiar names and people still signing in. I'm back. If you have seen a lot of other E27 webinar before, for today I'm also going to host for today's session. We have exciting panel today. Oh, we have Eda, Andre, Ani. Hi everyone. Hi Daphne, David, Echo, Eric as well, Safwan, Lydia, and people are still coming in as well. So we're gonna start in a few minutes actually. Where are you guys joining from? So today is very bright and shiny in Jakarta, Indonesia. Anyone coming from Singapore or Philippines? I heard it's been raining a lot in Singapore. Oh, there you go. Yes, Philippines. I think that's my team. Thank you, Joel. Oh, hi Tandan. Hi everyone. Thanks for coming in. We're gonna start in a few minutes actually. People are still signing in to this webinar, so we're just gonna wait a few more minutes. We have other familiar names as well. Okay, so as a start, I think pretty much just so that we can wait for the others to come in, we're gonna share a little video to tell you guys about our panelists as well and about Zoom. On to you, Joel.
Q Clothing is a women's fashion company with 3 brands, Q, Dion Lee and Veronica Main. The business has been built on innovation, both in fashion and technology. The logical next step to me was doing virtual styling.
We believe that there shouldn't be a divide between in-store and online shopping. Instead, customers deserve the best possible experience wherever they are. So Brauz removes friction from the shopping journey. After I had a conversation with Shane Linton at Q, he brought up that he wanted to introduce video-based commerce into his business. As a shopper, we're able to send you an SMS via the Brauz platform, which includes your Zoom link that enables you to jump into your video session. Or you could simply click on the Connect Live button that sits on a retailer's website and launch straight into that session.
With the ability of the Brauz Live Connect feature that we can now toggle on our smartwatches in store, we can now connect with customers in real time. Through Zoom, she can walk me through her wardrobe, show me exactly what she needs help with, and then I can give her all the recommendations and tips to make sure that she's really happy with it. The platform is so super easy to use. I mean, anyone can use it, and it's easy for us as stylists, and it's easy for the client as well. It's a push of a button and you're in someone's wardrobe, you're in someone's home, and you can walk her through the store and you can take her through as if she was right in the store with you.
The human connection element was really important. Our teams in store do an amazing job when a customer comes in to visit, and for me it was, how do we do this on a broader scale, and how do we deliver that in an immersive experience? With the Brauz platform and the deep integration with Zoom, it's a seamless end-to-end experience.
The Brauz technology can layer into any wearable technology, and as long as that technology is enabled with Zoom, we're able to connect into that wearable and deliver these experiences where we give customer a first-person view of what they're looking at. It's really shopping without borders. You could be absolutely anywhere and be fully immersed in that experience at any store. Retail staff are able to add products to that cart for the customer in real time, send it to the customer so that they can check the items in their cart and transact in the moment. Retailers are reporting back to us average order values 5 to 6 times that of in-store sales, converting up to 60% of all video bookings.
And it just shows how much the customers are loving the sessions.
When we first saw the button go live on the website, we knew that we were delivering a new experience to the market that could change the world.
All right. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening for some of you that join from other time zone. This is Selma. I'm the head of program at E27. And of course, welcome to Zoom and E27 webinars, Bridging the Digital Gap, elevating your digital offerings to adapt to changing customer expectations. I believe people are still coming in right now. So of course, no worries, guys. If you come in a little bit late, we actually are going to record this session as well. And of course, we're also live streaming it on Facebook. So to you guys on the Facebook as well, good afternoon to you as well. So pretty much for today's discussion, we have awesome panelists to discuss exciting topics about, of course, digital offerings, which I will introduce to you guys later. So next slide. I'm just going to basically set up some house rules just to make this webinar a little bit more exciting for all of us. So of course, to those that are attending in the Zoom, and for those even in Facebook, if you wanted to have a discussion for us, please jump into the Zoom link and join the discussion. So we pretty much open the Q&A function throughout all the session in the webinar. So yes, if you see it on the right bottom side of the Zoom, you can see the Q&A function. So you can click that and ask us a few questions that that you have, even in the middle of the sessions. And of course, please be active and engaged. Use the chat function. I would love to hear, what you guys are thinking, and of course, let you be inside of the conversation as well. Next. All right, so some exciting time. Actually, we wanted to basically get to know you guys better. So I'm sending a poll now. I believe you can see it. We would love to know from everyone here about what is the most important aspect while managing your product currently is. So there's idea management, specification. Please answer the poll pretty much, because we wanted to know basically what's the most important aspect you think is. And the other one, of course, is what is the current stage of your product on your product life cycle? Are you guys just starting, actually, still sourcing for ideas, or perhaps already doing some market research, strategy development, creating the product, or actually already testing it as well? Oh, we actually have started to see some answer. Come on, everyone, answer it. I think we're pretty much going to close it pretty soon. Ooh, quite a diverse actually result. I think the winner here is actually in the analytics and feedback. Okay. That's quite an interesting result. But we're still opening it in a few more seconds. So in case you guys haven't been able to answer it, please do answer it now. And while I'm looking around as well, I can see, oh, you guys actually already start prototyping and testing, and equally doing idea sourcing at the same time. Interesting. All right, a few more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm gonna end the poll for now. And the winner, of course, for the first one is equally analytics and feedback at first place, and discovery and specification in second place. Interesting result. I think we can get into that a little bit later. Why is that important? And of course, in the current stage, I can see that a lot of you actually are already in prototyping, and equally actually as well, some of you are just starting sourcing the idea. All right, so we actually have quite a diverse audience here. That's exciting for sure. And yeah, next slide. Thank you so much, everyone, for the polling. I'm gonna share the poll result here so everyone can see, and our panelists can see it as well, just in case you wanna check it. Next slide. All right, so without further ado, after 8 minutes in, I would like to introduce our awesome panelists who are here today from all over the world and region. So for panelists, you can show up and share your open your camera so that we can see all your beautiful and handsome face. Oh, here we go. We have Zhibo, Lee, and Sav. Thank you so much, guys, for coming in and saying hi to our audiences as well. So we can start introducing ourselves, starting from Zhibo. Zhibo, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, everyone. Really happy to be here. I actually see some familiar names from the attendees. So my name is Zhibo, and I'm currently the Chief Product Officer at LingoAce, which is a global edtech company that provides engaging and interactive virtual learning of Chinese and English languages for modern young learners. So prior to joining LingoAce, I actually managed the mobility and deliveries product teams at Grab, which is the super app of Southeast Asia. And before Grab, I led the product team at C Group. Yeah, that's about myself. And I think I was asked to share one boring fact about myself. So the very boring fact about myself is that I have never drunk alcohol before.
That's not boring at all. But on to the next one. Lee, do you want to say hi to our audience?
Hey, how is everybody? I'm Lee Hardham, the CEO and founder of Brauz. Yeah, we're a omni-channel experience platform. So I know many of you just saw that video that was playing earlier. We specialize in providing experiences that help connect the digital customer to staff in store. And yeah, the experience that you just saw before was our video commerce experience in partnership with Zoom. So I'm sure, we'll talk a little bit more about that soon. One fact that I thought that I would share, and I thought I'd try to add a little value to the startup audience that are here today. So one interesting fact about myself and Brauz is, even though we've just started to see some great success over the last sort of 2 to 3 years, Brauz has been going for 10 years now. So, very interesting to see poll results come in. And, I know there was a lot in there about, analysis and feedback about your product. But yeah, truly just keep persisting at what you're doing, find the right product fit, and then take that to market. But yeah, great to be here.
Thank you, Lee. Maybe also adding in as well, just in case you want to share one boring fact about yourself, just in case.
Just in case, geez, another boring fact about me. I'm a massive nerd. I'm a big nerd. So, I love gaming, board games, video games, everything. So there's a little boring fact about me.
Oh, exciting. That's not boring as well because I also love board games. So we should play together sometimes.
Yeah.
And of course, last but not least, Sav from Zoom. Hi, Sav. You want to say hi to our audience?
Yeah, hi guys, hi Selma. Lee, I have to strongly disagree with your boring fact. I mean, I think we are all nerds, otherwise we would not be working in technology. But hey, I'm Xav Desmet. I'm French-Australian, father of 2, and today I've got the best job at Zoom. I look after a team of very talented individuals to help digital natives in Asia embracing Zoom as a platform. So that is to say, we're helping startup digital natives either develop on the Zoom platform, integrating our video and voice capabilities into existing or new apps. So as I said, it's the coolest job at Zoom and very happy to be here. One boring fact, which is that one very boring, I think that's what my wife is telling me every day, is I'm an early riser. I wake up always very early, and that's something I learned in Australia. So yeah, that's one boring fact, and very happy to be with you guys today.
We're actually very happy to have everyone here. And of course, I think we never will know that Sav is a writer. And now we know through this webinar. So without further ado, guys, I think pretty much for those that are just coming in, because I know people still joining in as well, you can see kind of like a recap on the chat to see who are actually talking. I think E27 just share it on the chat there. Feel free to use the chat function and of course the Q&A function if there's any question throughout the webinar. All right, so without further ado, I think pretty much I'll start the talking points and conversation with our panelists here. So excitingly enough, of course, I think pretty much everyone would have heard about customer experience, have heard about customer communications, right? But I think pretty much we would love to know what is customer experience and customer communication, and actually how does it help business grow and create a relationship to reach their audience? So maybe for this opening question to Sav, maybe can you explain a little bit to our audience about what is customer experience and customer communication is?
Thanks, Selma. I mean, there's multiple ways to address this question, but I'd like to start with the literal, definition of customer experience. And when you think of what it is the impression your customers have of your brand as a whole. That is to say, all aspects of the buyer's journey, and it results in their view of your brand and impact factors related to your bottom line, including revenue. And a good customer experience will bring you more customers. But now this is the pain, okay? Because one happy customer will bring you one new customer, hence the business growth. But if you don't provide a good customer experience, the impact is far bigger. Research has shown that one unhappy customer will prevent 10 other potential customers to adopt your products and or like your brand. So COVID has been an amazing catalyzer or a natural selector for customer experience. It helped identify who could be delivering a great customer experience, regardless of the circumstances. And for those who embedded video communication in their application, it helped them thrive and reach new markets. So it is also a biased response, as you can imagine, but it is also what we've been observing at Zoom over the past couple of years. So yeah.
So take the keyword there, guys. Customer experience and good customer experience and customer communication actually do help business grow, right? So I'm going to ask Lee here, pretty much, right? On your end, pretty much, can you see basically whether good customer experience and customer communication does actually help your company grow? And in that sense, during the pandemic, because you've been around for 10 years, what has changed, and where are we now actually currently?
Yeah, sure. So I guess when we're talking about customer experience, we're a customer experience platform. So very much our solutions specialize in helping customers connect to retailers, be that by in-store appointments. And talking pre-pandemic, predominantly our whole solution was driving customers back in store and helping them transact. So we've got a range of solutions like reserve in store, the ability to reserve a product, make sure it's there when you get there, and then a retailer can build a physical experience for that customer. Very much what we've, I guess, seen now, and it's the sort of transition and how it's changed, is that customers are wanting to connect in a range of different ways. And so really when we get down and Zav touched on it, a great customer experience brings not just that customer back, but more customers back. And so, in the retail landscape, what we know is when a customer goes online, only 2% of their traffic will transact at any given moment. So that gives a retailer 98% chance, an opportunity to connect with their customer and provide them a great experience that will enable them to be able to come on there and transact. So, how do we do that, and what have we seen change? We've seen a range of different exciting technologies, like video, for example, the ability for a customer to go on. For those of you who were there earlier, you would have seen in that the video that was played at the start in the intro, a customer being able to connect via video. Once they're there, the staff member knows what they're looking for, they can personalize that experience for their customer. And then very importantly, give them an opportunity to transact. So every interaction, whether it be a physical interaction or one via video, should provide a customer the ability to transact in that call.
And I think pretty much that loops in really nicely to kind of like the next question that I'm going to ask, of course, Lee and Zhibo, which is, talking about transactions, right? Especially online, we could not, forgot about the tech-savvy customer, right? And their interactions. So I was wondering kind of like maybe starting from Zhibo first, how do actually the current tech-savvy customer interact with brands, via various channels? Whether basically customer behavior change was, exponentially created post-pandemic, and actually what causes this change as well.
So I think, first of all, the pandemic has really driven students towards online virtual learnings. So, at LingoAce, we observed tremendous growth in gross booking since the pandemic. And more than 4 million class hours have been taught. But even after countries reopened, so this growth continued, meaning that students really enjoy the effective and accessible virtual learning we offer here. And from our point of view, so communication and interaction with our customers actually start before they become our users. So if you look at the customer lifecycle journey here, so the touch points actually begins when they become aware of the brand and the product. So today, this connection usually happens on social media for LingoAce. So with our Chinese speaking audience, so WeChat is apparently a key channel. So among our non-Chinese speaking audience, then channels like TikTok and Instagram will be more popular, especially like in the markets like the United States. Many parents got introduced to LingoAce through their friends and family on such social media channels. So in fact, I have a data point here. So about 60% of our new students, they come through referral programs on social media from parents whose children are actually already using LingoAce. But to expand our reach even further, so LingoAce actually partners with Jeremy Lin as our brand ambassador. So if you follow basketball and the NBA, so he's best known for the cultural phenomenon called Linsanity, and it's very famous in the Chinese and Asian American community. So in addition to a brand film and press interviews, so Jeremy actually helped introduce LingoAce to his own followers in his social channels. And of course, he also made appearance on LingoAce social channels because he really believes in how LingoAce is able to build cross-cultural connections through language education. So if he talks about LingoAce, it's very authentic. So you see, this combination of social media channels and brand ambassador have allowed us to increase both awareness and affinity for our brand with a bigger audience. But once they become our customers, so we actually see brand and product need to meet these customers at where they are in their own preferred way. So it's not really about how many channels you may create, but rather it's about really understanding how your customers want to communicate with you. So you see, here LingoAce is a global ed tech company. We have students in over 100 countries. It would be inefficient for us to try all the channels applicable in each country here. So what's more important is to use the right native channels for the right types of customers in the different markets. For example, when LingoAce first got started, most of our customers are like their first generation Chinese who were born in China, grew up in China, and went overseas later on. So their primary communication channel is WeChat, not surprisingly. But as we expand to the second and third generation overseas Chinese market, these are families who have fewer connection to China. So hence WeChat became less relevant and important here. In the US, these families prefer just to use text message through iMessenger, or they just use Facebook Messenger. We know actually WhatsApp is quite popular in Southeast Asia and in Europe, but it actually never took off in the US. So you see, like we have to use the right channel for the different markets. What we don't want to happen is to force our non-Chinese speaking customers to download WeChat in order to communicate with us and to allow us to serve them. You know, those will not be a great user experience there. Yeah. So, you know, one of the core values at the LingoAce is learners first. So we want to use the communication channel preferred by our learners as well as their parents.
Thanks, Zhibo. And actually, while you're also chatting, I think we have one question answered, but I'll hold it a little bit, and in that sense, so I'm actually wondering, kind of like, what's your response to that, Lee? Kind of like, how about you? How about on your perspective, you know, as well? What do you think about, you know, what changes post-pandemic as well, you know, and of course, what is driving the in your experience, what is driving this shift in channels and customers and businesses?
Yeah, so I think, you know, echoing a lot of what Zhibo just said with his comments in there, I'll follow up with some of those stats. You know, Zhibo mentioned social media being a major influence, and, you know, we've got a tech-savvy customer who now sits on, you know, multiple channels. You know, they're on TikTok, they're on Facebook, they're on WeChat, you know, they're everywhere. And, you know, something really, really exciting when we look at live commerce in China, live commerce already represents 10% of all e-commerce sales and is forecasted to hit I believe it's, you know, over $400 billion by the end of this year. So, you know, it's a massive industry and a massive opportunity. You know, I think, you know, when we're talking, I guess from our end, and we're talking about that tech-savvy customer, I think we can say that our customer is tech-savvy, right? And, you know, they have a range of different technologies that are in front of them that enable them to connect with their brands that they want to see, and that ability to, you know, transact with those brands. They've got these opportunities around them everywhere. And it's about, as a brand, how can you enable those experiences to reach that customer? And it is every customer. We're, you know, increasing the amount of technologies we're using, increasing the amount of screens that we're using. You know, how can we make it easier for our customers to transact in those environments in the way that they want to transact?
Wow, that's big. Yeah. That's really, really big. I mean, 4 billions, right? The market opportunity is like huge. And I think in regard to your remark about tech savvy, actually, I think it loops back to an interesting question that our audience are asking. You know, although video integration have been more welcome now with the young generation, any tips on tackling challenge to those that are not tech savvy? Actually, Lee, you're nodding. So here, you want to take this one first?
Yeah, so I guess it's really interesting because one of the most exciting benefits that we found from our video commerce solution that was out in market, you know, when we released it out, we were just helping consumers connect. And you know, we weren't targeting it to certain communities and certain segments in the community. But what we actually found was there was a customer that wasn't so tech savvy that was jumping in as one of the groups. And, you know, one of the common experiences that we get and we hear from brands is that a customer has jumped onto the website, connected with a retailer over video, and they even get the retailer to, you know, share the screen with them, and they help them browse the screen and show them where things are, help them transact and, you know, buy the products they want to buy. You know, I think there's, you know, we talk about tech savvy at one end, and then, you know, making technology easily accessible and usable for everybody is on the other scale of it as well. You know, we hear amazing stories about, you know, I'll share one with you in particular, where we've got a retailer for tailored suits and men's suits here in Australia called MJ Bale. And they reported back to us after their first month of turning on the solution and said to us that, you know, they had a gentleman who was wheelchair bound and couldn't go into a store. and hadn't been into a MJ Bale store for over 10 years. And normally he was able to get there on that call, have his suit fitted, and transact during that call, and he was in tears about happy about the experience that he had. So I think it's not just a tech savvy customer that gets to enjoy these experiences, but where what I like to say is we're on an innovation curve, and we've got those early adopters who will be jumping in and using that, a highly tech savvy customer, and then on the other end, using technology as an enabler for customers as well, for that non-tech savvy customer.
So pretty much, I think nowadays, like you mentioned, right, even for those non-tech savvy customers, there's no choice for them.
Yeah,
pretty much. But I love your story about kind of like how technology has enabled a lot of more actually opportunities, and of course help to the society and audience. So maybe looping to that, maybe you can share more about what you're currently doing with your space, Lee. So I know that Brauz has gone through a transformation journey by integrating, with existing technologies such as what we all know, inventory and customer data. But maybe can you share actually how Brauz has utilized video technology to provide simple, personalized human experience that translate into satisfied customer and growing sales?
Yeah, for sure. So I guess, first of all, it's, highlighting that problem for retailers out in market where, retailers want to have these connected experiences, but it's not always easy for them to connect their technologies together. And so, Selma, you highlighted about how we integrate with things like inventory and store-based inventory to help provide these experiences. So, where we started from as a technology, we actually started off as a marketplace. And we launched that 7 or 8 years ago. And a marketplace is very hard. You've got to win customers on one end, you've got to win brands on the other. And we pivoted our technology back then to just have our in-store platform connect up localized inventory for retailers so that we are local inventory aware. And then we're able to plug our experiences onto websites. So for example, if you went onto Q Clothing that you saw in the video just before, you'd be able to go onto one of their product pages. You'll see the book a stylist, press that button. Once you press that button, you're able to either book a time where you can connect with one of their stylists at a time that suits you, or if a staff member is available now, they can actually flick a switch inside of Brauz to say that they're available and enable a connect live feature. So then you're able to connect in real time to a staff member and have that, I guess that in-store shopping experience from the comfort of your home. That's one way that we've done it. Zav, I know, one of the exciting innovations that we brought to market was that we created the first ever shopping cart inside of a Zoom call as well. So, being able to have that product feed that we've integrated sit inside of a Zoom call and let your customers come in there, transact, send them an SMS so that they can buy those items and get them delivered to them when they want them.
So maybe actually just to tap in a bit there, because you mentioned kind of like your experience with Zoom. Maybe I just want to give a chance for Zav. Do you have any kind of like follow up on that actually? A little bit sharing about how.
I think it's the amount of creativity. It's what Brauz understood when they started leveraging the platform it was just not a video communication solution. You could do so much more than that if you start looking at the platform and start working or developing on it. So I'd like to make the segue between what Lee has just shared and also the question that we received around about tech savvy. And there's 2 examples I want to give here. You don't have to be tech savvy to embrace Zoom as a platform. That is the whole DNA of the application and the whole value proposition that we're positioning to digital native. Similar to delivering frictionless communication, I'm sure you've heard that from Zoom before. It's the same with developing something. We even have solutions that could help the developing by doing drag and drop. So it's not about understanding the technology, it's about understanding your customer, you know, and we've seen that in the poll at the beginning, analytics and feedback. Understanding your customer, understanding the workflow, the processes that you need to put in place. And I bet you that you could be basically developing an MVP in less than a couple of weeks when using Zoom. So again, you don't have to be tech savvy. You just have to understand or be curious and understand how your customers basically are going to be interacting with you. The rest is the easy part, I would say. So yeah, hopefully this is helping.
Yeah, I think pretty much you captured it well in terms of kind of like how Zoom as a platform, I think pretty much have been used worldwide, like even for those non-tech savvy people as well. So I think it, like Zaf mentioned, you know, even for non-tech savvy, it is actually, you know, within the Zoom DNA as well. And I believe actually we have another question from the audience. And I think this can be addressed now as we go to the next question. I understand that having video integration makes the conversation a whole lot easier, but how does it help in making the call or the meeting more dynamic? Oh, especially since we are only focusing on video and audio, and we sort of lose the human touch of interactions like body language, atmospheres, and places. Oh, this is exciting. Maybe we can start with Lee, and then after that, Zhibo. I think Zhibo also have experience in education.
Yeah, definitely. So I can talk about some of the really exciting factors in terms of video. And, you know, I might also add that video as a platform, especially video from Zoom, is growing, and you know there's more innovations being added to it all the time. What I can explain, I guess, from our experiences is you might not have that human touch, but you do have some other elements that you can bring into those video sessions in retail that create a whole new experience. So, you know, for example, you might be buying outdoor furniture and you connect to a furniture retailer, and you can't go in there and you can't touch and feel the items. But what you can do is you can take them to your outdoor area and you can show them the area that you want to put the items as you're talking to them. And they can go around and they can try to match that up for you. Equally, you know, I talk about this experience where you know, very commonly in fashion, what happens when a customer connects to, you know, a stylist or a retailer, they might be talking about an item that they're looking for. You know, they might be buying a dress or, you know, a top that they want to wear out. And the retailer is able to talk with the customer, and the customer is able to go to where all of their items are in their wardrobe, and they're able to bring that out into the session and talk to them then and there. So there's a number of different elements that you can bring into that experience with video that you don't have from going to an actual physical location. And then there's a lot of exciting technology that's evolving in the space. You know, there's immersive technologies where, you know, you've got try-on technologies which are coming in. So, you know, it's a fast evolving space, but there's, you know, I guess so much more than that touch and feel.
Yeah. I think there's so much more, and maybe Zhibo on your end, right? Because you engage with students and the younger ones. So I'd love to know your experience on this and your thoughts.
Yeah, for sure. You know, like the core business at LingoAce is actually the virtual learning. So through those interactive video communication. So you see, like the key word here is interactive, because we have world-class video SDKs from partners like Zoom, so that we can connect our certified Chinese language teachers in China or English language teachers in the US to students who live virtually, literally anywhere in the world. And our partners like Zoom, they provide us this global video technology infrastructure. Then we can build our virtual classroom on, and our curriculum that essentially will be more interactive, engaging, and gamified. So even through the video communication, there could be games that the learners and the teachers, they can play together. And then we have the enhanced video and audio experience together through our video SDKs. But you know, as the countries start to reopened, we actually are experimenting with new type of virtual learnings in an even more personalized way. Like, for example, in Singapore, we actually piloted this new model called blended learning, which is, it's a certified program that combines the weekday online lecture with the weekend in-person tutorial in a small class with a teacher. We are also developing a smart classroom concept that actually enable a small in-person class taught by a teacher in China or in the US through this video communication and aided by a local teacher here, like a teaching assistant who is physically in the classroom with an interactive smart application. So, I mean, you can see here, we are trying to experimenting, integrating online virtual learnings and offline physical classroom into a more holistic digital classroom experience. And on top of that, there are a few other areas that LingoAce is innovating and monitoring very closely. Like as what Li shared just now, we want to leverage how AR, VR can bring to us for a more immersive and gamified learning experience. And those cutting edge video and AR, VR technology are actually vital vectors here. And with these technologies, we can essentially bring the digital classroom experience closer to what is great about physical classroom. So our teachers and students, they are able to interact.
Apologies, I think pretty much I can see that I don't know if you can see my screen, but to continue the conversation, pretty much I think for the next one, I think looping it back to kind of like Zhibo, looping back to Zhibo, the pandemic has forced the education sectors to go completely online, right? At least during COVID's early months. So I think it look back to what you have shared, right? Even if pandemic restrictions have already loosened in most part of the world, online learning is here to stay. And actually for most organizations, it has now become a platform of choice. So I would love to know kind of like LingoAce, share a little bit of your story and how you basically leverage the video SDK to bring the digital classroom experience closer to what great, physical classroom. Can you tell us a little bit about the drivers of the journey?
So I'm not sure whether you, because just now you drop off a little bit, I'm not sure whether you captured what I have shared just now. So it's essentially explaining how LingoAce is leveraging the video SDK and then providing the virtual learning to a student. And right now we are actually experimenting with a new model called blended learning, as well as a smart classroom, so that we can combine the benefits of online learning together with a more interactive way of like offline experience. So it's become blended. So then we can allow our teachers, students to interact with each other, both in class and outside of class, then leveraging what the best of e-learning can offer to us.
Yeah. I think very much apology for that. We have a little bit of technical difficulties, pretty much. But I think Zhibo.
Selma, I think we captured very well what Zhibo has shared. I think there's
pretty accurately and pretty, SDK.
Selma.
There's a little bit of technical difficulties. So actually, I'm moving to, can you guys hear me? Apologies again.
We can, it's actually no technical difficulty. I think it's an area where you must be connecting from where you have unstable internet. That's what your signal is saying. So it's your connectivity that needs to be worked out.
Yeah, I think apologies everyone. It might be my internet connectivities on this end. So actually for this, I'm pretty much going to give the conversation to Zhibo for the next question, and then moving into my team for in case my internet also goes a little bit down. So pretty much I think we have mentioned that a little bit about Zhibo's stories as well with LingoAce and Brauz. So maybe for the next one is, how can unified communication support the customer regardless of the platform or channels they're currently on? So for this one, maybe Saf, you want to take a lead first in terms of unified communications?
Sure, Selma. And actually on that one, I'll make my answer short, as I think Lee and Zhibo can illustrate perfectly this question. All I will share is that customer centricity and simplicity are the two most important components when it's coming to unified communication. Customer centricity to align with the customer journey and provide frictionless communication, whatever devices and platform they are connecting from, wherever they are connecting from, and whenever they are connecting. And simplicity, as this is what any customer wants. You know, simplicity to communicate, to buy, to interact, and find a solution if there is a problem. So that is, to me, the two most important components. But Zhibo, please jump in and share your thoughts on this.
For sure, yeah. So, you know, like supporting multiple channels and have a unified communication could be a big challenge because it's actually very difficult to find one vendor or one off-the-shelf solutions that cater to every market and for every channel they have in that market. So what we want to avoid is actually asking our teams, internal teams, to switch among the different channels. For example, like sending SMS now and then opening WeChat to talk to the customers. And there's another aspect to consider here, is that the functionality that the sales team need for customer acquisition could be very different from what our customer service team or marketing team need. So we have to build our own internal tools for such unified communication. At LingoAce, we call it notification center. This is for our sales, for our operation teams, and for our customer support team to have a unified communication with our customers. So they can select the appropriate channels for certain customer segment in a very specific markets. And all the communication efforts will be well recorded and coordinated as well. So you see that here, such coordination requires a good understanding of the customer journey and knowing what and when a message should be sent to your customer. So actually, I have a very good example from my previous company, Grab. So, you know, I was responsible for Grab Food, and in Southeast Asia, it often rains quite heavily. So when it's raining outside, our Grab Food, the app experience will automatically display a rainy banner to set the expectation to our eaters that, hey, there could be a potential delays as a result of the bad weather. But at the same time, our operation team will send out an in-app promotion message to let the eaters know that which restaurant can actually deliver faster during the rainy days. And our app will also use a data science model to automatically adjust the ranking of all the restaurants in the app accordingly. And at the same time, our delivery partners will receive a notification message encouraging them to go out and deliver food because there is better incentive during rains. So you see everything here for every component, every parties is coordinated in a well-organized manner. So I think this will work well for with such unified communication.
Yeah, I think that works well. But so pretty much in response to that, I think because Saf have already mentioned kind of like an overview of it. How about you, Lee, in terms of how basically unified communication support your customers, essentially?
Yeah, for sure. So at Brauz, we've got a vision of commerce anywhere. So, you know, echoing, I guess, you know, what Zav and Zhibo have been saying, it's about meeting the customer where they are and providing the ability for them to connect. So, you know, very much when we talk about commerce anywhere, we talk about the ability to transact in video, be that in a one-to-one session or a one-to-many session. It could be even if they're in a physical environment, they could be inside of a store. Having a unified communications platform means that if there is a certain professional, they don't have to be working in that particular store. They can be remote and they can connect to them via video, enable that ability for them to communicate, get the knowledge they need and what they need to be able to transact. You know, even over to, you know, if they want to communicate via phone, self-checkout, you know, even the metaverse, right? Wherever a customer is, it's about having the ability for them to connect with a staff member, take that digital fingerprint of who that customer is, their browsing history, their purchase history, their loyalty, passing all of that data across, giving them a unified experience no matter where they are in whatever environment they want to transact.
So I think that loops in kind of like perfectly to the next question, in terms of customer retention, which is basically the next interesting topic that I think everyone would love to learn more as well. So in terms of kind of like, how can business improve their customer retention and increase operating efficiency for their business? For Mr. Lee first, how did you enhance actually the personalized experience for Brauz?
Yeah, so we've got our platform, which is called Brauz IQ. And so Brauz IQ basically sits in there, and that's what staff members use, to launch their video sessions, to receive orders that come into the platform. And so what we've started to branch ourselves out into is having those data points plug into Brauz IQ from a retailer. So, I touched on just before that digital, fingerprint of a customer, which has all of your, the things like your browsing history, your purchase history, your loyalty, any customer support tickets, any data really a retailer has, they're able to feed it through to us and give us that 360-degree view of the customer. So when you connect, they're able to personalize that experience just for you. And, the result from that is, increased conversion and increased average order values. So knowing who your customer is, knowing what they want, knowing what they're likely to buy, and then having, a real important part in retention is, what's your rewards or your loyalty program for that customer, and having that transferred across any environment. So, very much we see at the moment there can be a disconnect between a digital customer and you've got all your loyalty connected there, but if you go in store, it's not. But it's making sure that you've got all those data points connected in. So it doesn't matter what environment you're transacting in or you're connecting in, all of that data is passed through and they can provide you that experience, which is best in class wherever you are.
And actually about that, right? I think what are basically the next question actually looks, goes back to one of our audience question here from the Q&A. So moving on to Zhibo, what action do you take to accommodate the different needs of, let's say, business and students? And looping to the conversation in the Q&A, how can we transition and integrate existing technologies to our business? We are an old school business and have been doing our process the old manual way.
So, at LingoAce, we use a combination of so-called high touch and low touch engagement with our customers in order to accommodate the different needs of them. So I think having the right mix of high touch and low touch is really key to good customer experience. An example of high touch communication is assigning a personal service rep to each customer to help them navigate your product and service. So here at LingoAce, we actually offer this through our course consultant and the learning advisors. So they can actually help parents find the right class level and find the right teacher for their kids. And they can also provide feedback after each lessons and each unit. So you see, this level of service is critical for our customer acquisition and customer retention. So just now for the very first Q&A, there was a question about what if the customers is not tech savvy, right? So you see, even if they are not tech savvy, we have this personal rep that can help them navigate our product. So which is really, really helpful for LingoAce growth. So, those families that have a good experience from our trial class, they like the service from our course consultant, they were likely to sign up for our program and purchase classes. And likewise, those who enjoy the service from our teachers and learning advisors will continue to use our service and renew the package. But however, not every task will require contacting a service rep to accomplish, right? So we also have a low touch communication channels, such as sending a push notification or SMS to remind our customers about upcoming class, or a self-served way to apply for class leaves or book a new class. And so, this low touch will improve our operation efficiency, but the key here is you need to figure out the right mix of the high touch and low touch, and this really comes down to how you can truly understand your customers and how they want to communicate with you, with your product and with your platform.
The main thing is how you understand your customer and basically how you communicate with them as well. So moving to kind of like the last question before we move into the Q&A briefly. Opening up the question for of course all the panelists here. Maybe basically we can start first from Sav to Lee and to Zhibo. What are some of the challenges business actually face now in adopting this technology into their processes? And actually, how did they or you actually address them as well?
It's a broad question, and I think I mean that's the one where it's important that we start leveraging a bit of data. I did spend a lot of time in the financial services industry from an IT point of view, and I think when we're looking at the way that, for instance, we're helping fintech today, rethinking about how they should be engaging with customers, I will use some data points to illustrate that. So one of our partner based in the UK called Qdini has run an extensive research about face-to-face and virtual appointments with their relationship managers, like between banks and relationship managers and their customers. And so they found out that 30% of people asked want to have appointments for banking services by video and phone. And Gen Z and millennials are 1.5 times more likely to want video banking appointment. But to me, the most important data, in my view, is the business case for virtual appointments, because 46% are suddenly more likely to engage with the bank, 42% more likely to buy something online, and then 42% are more likely to choose the brand over its competitors. And it revealed a lot. And, those things, again, we're looking at COVID, we'll never go back to the pre-COVID time, never. It won't be 100% virtual. It has to be always hybrid, as Zhibo highlighted, as Lee highlighted, and as Zhibo highlighted into the education business, industry, it's important to always think of inclusion. And virtual appointments, virtual meeting, virtual education is giving this opportunity to have always people who will be remote and can still access those services. It gives the bank, going back to your relationship manager, the opportunity not to hire the best talents who could be thousands of miles away from the head office, but also 1,000 miles away from their customers. And so it gives the people opportunities, or organizations the opportunity to think borderless, to think what should be really our strategy to serve those customers, regardless if it's physical, face-to-face, or virtual. And to me, retail banking is no exception. And I can tell you that there's a lot of progress that's still to be made. And so to me, the real question is not about the technical challenge, because with technologies like Zoom, it's very easy to embed video communication, but more on the customer centricity side. And the question becomes, do you really know what your customers want? So yeah, that's my part for this question.
Maybe to respond to that, Mr. Lee, and then Zhibo.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll just go quick because I know we're almost out of time. So I'll just echo on some of those statistics that Zav mentioned over there. So the conversion rate of an online customer is 2%. The conversion rate of an in-store customer is around about 28%, at least here in Australia. The conversion rate of a video-based customer is 60%. So 30 times higher conversion from a video-based customer than your traditional online customer. What's even more exciting about that, and what we've learned from Brauz, is that our retailers are reporting back massive average order values. So a video-based customer is highly engaged and they're ready to buy and they're ready to spend a lot of money. So average order values from our retailers range anywhere from 4 times to 6 times that of a traditional sale online or in store. So you do have a highly engaged customer. We're following trends that are happening all over the world. I know live commerce is forecasted to represent about 20% of all e-commerce sales in China. The rest of the world is starting to come and catch up a little bit, but it's an emerging market and there's massive opportunity in it.
Okay, I guess it will be my turn. Yeah, so I want to cover a slightly different aspect of applying technology to the company's growth. So, just now I mentioned that like we have learning advisor, we have cost consultant to offer a high touch service. But, although we are very proud of the excellent service we provide to our customers, this kind of high touch communication could also potentially become a bottleneck as we scale. Because each of them can only interact with a limited number of customers in a given day. So we would need to hire more learning advisors if we want to expand our customer base in the current manner. Otherwise, it would become operationally inefficient, right? So, but we know just now, not every interaction needs to be personalized. There are certain tasks, like what I mentioned just now, rescheduling a class or booking a class. This could be a one-click self-serve experience. It doesn't really require a discussion or interaction with our learning advisor. So hence, we can automate this type of task. And the benefit will be that our service team could focus their time and attention on those tasks that actually require a more human touch. So this will enable the organization to become more operationally efficient. So as a result, nowadays we are exploring to design a low-touch onboarding experience for our customer segments, so that if they choose to go with a more self-service experience to sign up for trial class, they can do it all by themselves. So we feel that if we can implement this, this will help us to reach out to a much broader user base and help us scale faster. So I think, again, the key thing here is to find the sweet spot between the high-touch and the low-touch engagement, which is vital to our company's growth.
I think high touch, low touch, all the different kind of like answers that Lee and Saf mentioned are very, very insightful. And I think to touch point as well, in terms of kind of like the chat that Saf and Lee have shared. So for everyone, I know that we're out of time. So basically, if you have any kind of like questions, please feel free to reach out to us and even to our awesome panelists here as well. They kindly share their email. And of course, they're also available on LinkedIn as well. Feel free to also say hi. I think we still have a couple of questions left, but apologies, Reina, and all the other 2 questions. We will answer them after this webinar. So before we kind of like close, I want to kind of like give the floor to the panelists to share some last closing statement for 1 sentence or 2 sentences to the panelists here. Maybe we can start again, of course, backwards from Zhibo, Lee, and then to Saf. Zhibo, you want to start first?
For sure. So I think finding your right balance and sweet spot for high touch and low touch communication will be very important for your company's growth in this increasingly digitized world. But you must be really thoughtful about your customer's journey and coordinate among your tech and business team to figure out the right portfolio of communication channels that fits your companies from the customer's perspectives. So I think that's my final line of thoughts here.
And I'll just jump in and, echoing what Zhibo's been saying. I know, Zav, you mentioned frictionless journeys early. So, I think that's, something to keep front of mind. It's how do you make your journey and your customer experience as frictionless as possible, using amazing platforms like video communication or, whatever it is. Find the right product market fit. And then when you get your success metrics, share it with your community. And then, hopefully you see some success.
Saf, last but not least.
Well, I have to start thanking Zhibo and Lee for joining us today, and thank you, Selma, for this great webinar. I mean, I'm excited about what's ahead of us. I think we have seen nothing yet about what can be done when it comes to customer experience. As we mentioned before, we need to think frictionless, seamless experience for our customers, wherever they are on the planet, whatever they use in terms of devices, to drive brand recognition, to build fans. I insist on that, building fans. And at the end, increase revenues, because that's of course the key thing that we are all in business for. So if you're curious about finding out more, reach out to me and my team, and I will be there to help you. Yeah, and thanks again for hosting us, Selma.
Thank you,
Thank you
Selma.
so much.
Thank you, Selma.
Thank you so much, of course, Zhibo, Lee, and Sav. And once again, I'm sorry, everyone, in case kind of like for a little bit of my internet difficulty there. But actually, we have here a lot of awesome questions from you. And once again, I'm sorry, Raina and the other two panelists, two audience that we could not answer. They have shared their email here. So feel free to reach out, everyone, of course, after this webinar. So without further ado, thank you so much once again, everyone, for coming into this webinar. I hope you have a wonderful day, and please do catch up again in future webinars with E27 and Zoom as well. All right. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Raina. Thank you, everyone, for coming in. See you
Bye.
soon. Bye-bye.